What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at
Marked hands. You're up, Adam.
All right. Let's see. This hand actually it popped up on my thing. I think it actually goes along with kind of what we were talking about today. I'm not sure how interesting necessarily it is, but I think it kind of fits with our studies session today for sure. And I guess I won't say I have one question really about it. Everybody can see it?
Yep.
Okay. So we're small blind. 1-2 game Poker Bros. I know these cats pretty well. Folds to this guy. This guy right here is like he's an aggressive player. I don't know if he's competent, but he's aggressive. So we're playing almost 150, a little bit less deep. And so this is like the first point, I guess. I think that this can if this were a nittier opener, I would fold here, I think, but against a guy that is an aggressive opener, I think this becomes more of a 3-bet. So I guess first question is, do people like 3-bet here? And maybe what sizing? I guess I probably shouldn't put my sizing up there first, but
are they aggressive defender as well? Do they fold to 3-bets a lot, or do they bend aggressively?
I think that we would probably say I don't know that number off the top of my head. I am going to think that this guy is probably an over defender to 3-bets more so than he should.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
One question just on your terminology. When you call him that he's aggressive, do you mean that he opens wider than the position warrants, or do you mean that he defends by 4-betting more than he defends by calling?
Oh, I don't think he has a robust 4-bet range at all. No.
Right.
I think he's just opening
too wide.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Sure.
All right, so we're good here then.
Yeah. 28 or 24 to 28.
Yeah, I think should the size that's actually a good question. What is 5x unreasonable here? Like just going 30?
What? So you're playing 1-2, right?
Poker.
Yeah.
It's big for the solver and it's big for poker coaching theory.
So you've got 125 big blinds effective here. I would think that 5x would be, I mean, and we already established that he's sticky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would think I prefer, I don't know what a 5x would, I don't know how do you think it would benefit?
I think he would be, I just think he probably is not going to adjust his range all that much.
Yeah, he's pretty inelastic.
I think so. Yeah.
So how
there you go, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
So then it comes down to if you think this hand wants to grow a pot out of position, this hand class. And is this a hand that question becomes then, is this a hand that you want to grow a pot with out of position? Is this hand class?
In some ways, yes, because you have the reason you do this is because you have a hand that can make the nuts.
Yeah.
So in some ways, yes. In some ways, no, because when you do hit your ace, you don't love it. And so you kind of in that situation, you're going to kind of wish it was a smaller pot.
Yeah,
it's kind of conflicted. I guess the question then becomes, Larry, do we want to have? Do we champion having two different bet sizes, like a bigger one with hands that we like better and a smaller one with kind of junkier stuff? I don't do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, some coaches are proponents of that. Some coaches are proponents of sizing up against, especially people who have a very very low fold to 3-bet. They are all about sizing up with like aces, kings, queens, ace, king suited. But I don't know if this hand wants to grow a pot out of position.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm going to argue for the standard 12 rather than the 14, because if this guy is opening too many hands in the cutoff. And ace eight suited, by the way, is a perfectly reasonable, it's a sliver 3-bet just under normal circumstances against a cutoff range. So he's playing more like a button range. The bigger you make it, the more correct you will make his response. If you will be encouraging him to fold those hands he shouldn't, that are out of line. And he'll be playing, he makes a little mistake by opening too wide, and you allow him to make a better decision on the turn, on the flop, by folding out. And this hand here doesn't love that other range, because this is your part of your bluff frequency. So I don't think this hand benefits from the larger size.
Fair enough, fair enough. So we get called here. And then I think we have this flop. And I think up until recently, I would have just bet small and across my range here. Just because I have the very strong 3-betting range. And yeah, I elected to go with just check here because I knew this guy was like very aggressive. And if I bet here, I have to check the turn a lot.
Yeah,
So
right.
So I check.
Before we
Oh,
continue,
sorry.
can I ask a quick question?
Yep.
Pre-flop, right? Like when you 3-bet with the ace eight, like what was your intention? Were you trying to get him to fold? Were you trying to get him to call? What were you gonna do with 4-bet? Like did you have that like
Oh, I
planned
mean,
out?
if he 4-bets, we just fold. That's
Right.
yeah. So like 4-bets just insta muck. And then like
But like what was your intention behind the sizing? Like instead of like, is this the right sizing? It's like what was the thought behind the sizing? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
So I think first of all, I can still get called by worse. Like lots of he's gonna have a bunch of suited connectors here that I think he continues with. That I'm likely very far ahead of. He's gonna continue with probably, I think, too much on the offsuit side. Like he's gonna have, continues with maybe like king 10, queen jack off type stuff that
okay. So
he probably shouldn't.
you're trying to play a pot with him exploitatively because you know that he's gonna be kind of overcalling his 3-bet or
Yeah.
overcalling his 3-bet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's kind of the thought process.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, like the actual sizing and stuff, I feel like the actual intention matters more than the actual like specifics. You know what I mean? Like we can argue all day about whether 12.5 BB or 13.5 or 15 BB is ideal, but like, the main ideal is that you have the correct thought process behind doing what you want,
So yeah, so I check this because I figure, this is going to be one of my worst ace X. If I bet here, I check turn, like I cannot defend this. I can't play this for 3 streets of value. And I can't really defend this if it bets 3 streets. So, I check and, he bets here, like just like standard half pot. So this is dry texture. I don't think that I can do anything really here other than just call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get turn, which goes check, check. And I think that that's kind of standard. And then now we get to river here. And my question here is bet for thin value or check. And that is what I'm interested in now that we've played this line in this way.
So you talked about player type,
Mhm.
and this guy is aggressive.
Mhm.
So I think that puts him in the pool that after he gets a check on turn, he is going to overbluff. He might even turn his 9s, his 7s into bluffs. And so for that reason, I think I tend towards check call.
But so I guess my question to that, Larry, is this guy like I could see him doing those things,
Mhm.
but would he also just call? Like he stab flop, check back turn, will he just like, if I B50 this, will he just call with nines?
Yeah.
It's like really tough. Like I thought that was like a really tough
Yeah, it is a tough spot.
decision, like to, yeah, like a small bet. Yeah, like Mike, I don't think it can be like, yeah, like I said B50, but yes, like something B50 and below. You don't want to go above it, I don't think, but
Yeah, I might be playing a little defensively here. I think there's probably a threshold as to where we now value bet. That might be around ace jack, might be around ace queen. But there's gonna be a threshold based on kicker. But also beyond the threshold, the more important is player class.
If you have your ace five or your ace 10 or any set here, this is then you could do the specifically B10 bet small to induce, like see if you can get him to go crazy. If he's aggressive, you do not want him to go crazy. You don't want to get raised here. Not saying that you're going to fold to the raise, but you will be unhappy if you're raised. So if you bet, you don't want to bet so small that you're inducing. So that's a B25 to B33, just a standard block bet. But because but I think go with the read you described earlier. You don't know how he's going to play 9-9, but you said this is an aggressive player. Let him play aggressively. And so check.
Also, you gotta,
Because both are good, because the small bet and the check are good. ASDF, you were talking. I'll shut up.
sorry, no, I was just gonna say, so like, aside from him having just 9-9, you gotta figure his entire range of hands that he's gonna stab, check. You know what I mean? Like, he has so much trash there that, yeah, when you bet anything, he's gonna have to fold. But then if you check, he might turn all those absolute junk hands into a bluff that you can call profitably. So, like I said, player dependent, but like versus the type that you're referring to, I feel like he would most likely be, if he sees weakness on the river, he's gonna turn any of his underpairs, any of his busted straight draws, basically anything that he has. He might even take like king high and try to turn into a bluff there. So like, yeah, he's gonna have a set sometimes. Yeah, he's gonna have some weird like, like 6-5 that he has a two pair with that. But even then, like he like, if you bet like 25 and then he jams and then you have to call, you're losing a lot more than if you just check and then he bets like 75 and then you call. You know what I mean? So by giving him the ability to do more, you're protecting your calling range and you're having to call the raise range.
fair enough. We check and he checked back. So, and we didn't get to find out, but we won.
Right. Okay.
So kind of, I think that kind of it was just kind of a cool hand that matched up with some of the stuff we were looking at today.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
I think a lot of your
That's what-
choices based on player class.
And that block bet thing is, I think that I do think that is a good like block bet like scenario as well, when you have like kind of mid top value and you're not really sure where they are, but you know what I mean? Like that's one of those like bet 10 fold type of scenarios or bet 10 call depending on the sizings.
All right. Mike, take a hand.
Okay. Okay. Randy, see it? Okay.
And by the way, I solved that one in real time while we were going, and the river on the ace jack, the ace 8 was exactly 50% bet, 50% check, and the bet size was the small bet 14, so it wasn't even. Yeah, and is that 14 big blinds? Yeah, so that's 14 big blinds into 50. So yeah, it's a bet under 33. That's what it does. Okay.
All right. We got a limper here under the gun, Queen's ISO. And then we get multi-way. Great flop, obviously.
God.
So this guy over here is kind of a target. A lot of hands, very overactive, been seemed to be aggressive as well. So keep that in mind, I guess.
Also, your stack depth is important here.
Yeah, and we're super deep. Exactly. That's another thing that will come into play here. This guy didn't really have much info on him, but getting a little, off base with some of these numbers, but not much to go off of there. So here we go. First decision point is here. Because we're super deep, I feel like we just kind of got to try to get money in. Is a single bet going to do it? Do we want to try to go for some kind of check raise? But what do you guys think?
So he's got a 43 VPIP, right?
It's like they both do.
Yeah. So at 100 big blinds, I would tell you to check this, but I'm not sure it just stacked up.
Normally, 100 big blinds, I would probably check pretty much range here as well, especially if I think this guy's been kind of pretty active and aggressive.
I mean, the one thing I think about here is that, so this guy is aggro, P3, right?
What's that? Yeah, this guy
Player
over here
three
has this guy over here has been pretty aggressive.
Okay, then I'm going to lean towards check raise. The best way
Yeah.
to grow a pot is a check raise. No question. You're gonna get a lot of folds, you're gonna get, but I think that is, especially because you're blocking his continues, but I think check raise is a good choice here. Depending
Yeah.
on his size, if he goes cray cray, multi-way, and goes
Um,
like above B75, I probably mostly call.
Yeah, I did take that line. I did go check and it checked through
Sad face.
Come on, spade. Come on, spade.
that case. We get pretty innocuous 8 of clubs here.
Oh, that's good.
Now we got to try to get money in, right? I mean, he's even
Yeah, I
100
mean,
he's even got 130 big blinds.
there's this really interesting strategic tension, right? Between cap ranges and SPR of bazillion. My division says that's about a bazillion. So I don't know. I don't know how to play this deep. So
Yeah.
I'm in the dark with you, but I think that you now have an urgency to grow this pot.
And I think
Yeah, I think
because we're deep,
yeah.
I chose to size up. Like typically I probably wouldn't size up. If it
Yeah.
was 100 big blinds, I probably would go like maybe B50 at the most, but especially multi-way. But because we're super deep, I decided to go up and maybe even go pot, right? That's what I'm wondering if I should just go pot.
So I don't think you're actually sized up here relative to what we learned in our three-way stuff, which was if you had bet the flop, it would be 5 big blinds, and then on the turn, it would be pot and 2x pot. And when you check, I think you jump in on the turn with pot as the standard size. So I don't think this is really sized up.
Yeah.
And so if you want to go super specific, what's the size that a club draw or a spade draw will call?
Probably 2x.
They don't put you on a set. I mean, they don't put you on a full house here. So whatever a club draw or spade draws will call, that's what you should bet. Cause you don't need to target pocket fives and ace high. And nobody has a deuce.
Yeah. Pocket jacks with a spade. I mean, they're going to start folding maybe 10s with a spade, 9s with a spade.
But I'm afraid that over pot, they might start folding that. So yeah,
Right.
I'm in anywhere from the 10 to 15, but not 5.
So, okay. Yeah. We got a call over there.
Right.
And now we're heads up.
Come on, club. Oh, what a great card.
Yeah.
I like that card.
Yeah, that's super great. So,
BSTI? There's ever a spot to BSTI, it's here.
Yeah, the only thing that checks behind that's gonna call you are pairs between the 8 and the queen that'll call a small bet. And a king that also has a spade with it. Cause the king might just check behind because of the spade. So yeah,
When he has all the ace high FDs.
now how extreme a BSDI do you wanna go? Do you wanna go 1 big blind? Do you wanna go 4 big blinds? Or do you wanna go you know,
Like
Uh,
4.
nine. Okay,
Now,
so
the other thing too is when we bet, will he just call with like he got here with a king? Will he just call now? Because this, if you're not on a flush draw, a king's not a great card for that dude.
Yeah.
Even if you have a king,
Magnitude trumps frequency.
even king queen, does king queen, put out a big bet?
Well,
Your
yeah,
king-
with spade coming in, I feel like a lot of like the hands that normally would raise on a non-spade are gonna just end up calling. I think this is one of those spots where you just want to bet big, and if they fold, they fold. Like I read an article not too long ago. I'm gonna try to like pull it up, but it basically does the math and it shows that if you use a larger sizing and then get called so like if you use like
Yeah.
a 33 size, you guys know what I'm talking about, where like you actually make more
Exactly.
money. Yeah. So again, and also especially with this like the back, front door spade coming in. I mean, there's so much more incentive for him to just call whatever bet that you have with all of his value. Whereas like, you know what I mean? Like someone with like ace king on the river, he's gonna call a 10% bet or a 70% bet or a pot size bet, but he's not gonna raise you. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah,
But
that's
if-
what I was torn between. I was torn between going huge and hoping that they have something that they can call with, and that's going to make more money than if we go, like a value bet of B75 or whatever, and they just
Yeah.
call with, a king or whatever it is they're going to call with. And then, so my other thought was if we check, they're going to bet a lot of those value hands, and they're also going to bluff sometimes.
Yeah. So
a good bluff card for him.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna use the bet small to induce, this is the spot. But I think you bet small are you B200.
Yeah.
A half pot seems like the worst choice.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. I did that. I checked.
Come on,
Do it.
work.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Oh wow. Good shit.
Okay, so we got what we wanted. Now we got to decide again what size.
Yeah, we do.
Get called by put him on a flush.
And if he has a flush, will he call a jam?
So ace, queen, ace, king of now our ace, queen of spades doesn't have. Yeah, I think you just shove it,
I
man.
think he might fold. Given your stack depth, you might get
Yeah, if
fold.
you completely
Certainly,
jam it,
got to be the ace high flush to even call to consider calling. You're
I
thinking.
feel like
I'm not saying.
70 BBs, like 2x or 3. Yeah, I agree that jam's way too large for SPR. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, that's
Magnitude trumps frequency.
Yeah, the magnitude trumps frequency. So we jam and they fold. Do they all just fold everything except pair of eights? Or
and pocket and the freak pocket king.
king deuce.
that's what I was worried about. That's all I was worried about. I just wanted to jam. I was so bad. I wanted to jam. He did call. He had a flush. He had the nut flush. But did I miss?
I think you jam it. Magnitude trumps frequency.
I think the only flush he can have, only flush this player type that you talked about has is the ace high flush, because I think he bets a lot of weaker flushes like this
Yeah,
ace
on
high
flop.
flush. Yeah, ace high flush has some showdown value conceivably. But like if he has like jack 10 of spades or something, he's like, never win this unless I bet. So yeah, like
But
I
on what,
think
on what street? On the river? The river's
so
a
he's
flush.
gonna bet flop, I think.
Oh,
So
okay.
so when he checks back flop, I think a lot of his flush draw stuff for this player type is kind of no longer in range. And so this suited ace is like the only flush draws that he's
Right.
really getting to river with.
Right.
And I guess, and so then the question becomes like, what's the greater part of his range on river? I kind of like, you guys didn't like the B50, but that was like what I thought, because I think most of his range is somewhere like 7s, 9s, 10s. Like that's like almost 20 combos of hands, and like the ace high flushes is,
Yeah, well, that's what they're
7.
saying. These are larger sizing, you can get more money out. All the hands that they're going to be calling the B50 with, they're going to be calling the B75 with.
mean,
Yeah.
Like there's a very slight class of hands there where they're gonna be calling the 50 but folding the 75, so you might as well just go 75.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, I
That's,
mean,
that's why I was saying that. That's what I thought was wrong with the 50. I thought the B3 gets him to bluff, the B75 gets some value, and the jam does the jam. But the
Also,
B50 is the middle is the
On the
middle.
river, if he rejams, are you just snap calling? Are you thinking about folding? Like, what are you doing there? If he just puts you all in for the rest of the 140 that he has behind.
Oh, we're calling.
we're calling.
Like
You're
now,
snap
like
call.
if he jams?
Zero
Yeah, if he
hesitation.
jams.
Yeah, right now if he jams, so zero hesitation, just snap call.
You're losing to one combo of twos.
And two
Yeah.
and two combos of
King
kings, and three
two,
combos of
king-
kings.
Does he
kings,
flat kings? Free?
No.
Does he
that-
flat twos pre?
I mean, he shouldn't. Twos, yes.
Yeah.
Kings,
No.
yes. Population could wind up with kings here, but it's so rare.
But no, we're losing all our money to those people and
Okay, all right, yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, so that's good. Thanks for, that's why I was so worried. I was like kind of kicking myself a little bit. I wanted to jam, but
So I think this is fine, but like, if we know or think that he has in his flush draw range here is like the ace high flushes. And we choose like V75, Mike, you just like, you might be better off just betting here because he's high likelihood he raises, right? And then you can come over the top for everything. So if you had bet the
yep.
25, he goes 100, you stuff it. Like he's calling.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's actually
yep.
another good point.
Good point.
Because yeah, with the ace eight, yeah, he could be raising over your B75.
Yeah.
That's valid. I mean, in situations like this, I sometimes will just roll it. I'll just randomize.
Yeah, I just hate checking, especially on like a wet river versus an opponent where like they're gonna unless it's like a very special type of maniac, like most of them are gonna play conservatively on a wet river, you know? So
Well,
generally,
we already established that he's aggressive.
yeah, well, I mean,
and
there's
so-
aggressive and then there's like spasm, right? So like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there's a fine line between the two, but like a good aggressive player, for example, can like easily like bet fold with the nut flush when there's a pair on it. Well, you know what I mean?
An aggressive player is gonna also bluff there with the case ace of spades. With the single ace of spades.
Yeah, but he's gonna have that a lot less than he's gonna have like all the other hands in his range too. So you always gotta like look at his entire range, not just like the specific hands. You know what I mean? Like in this whole range, like what's he gonna do with like everything else there, not just like the ideal hands.
Do you have the poker coaching peak up behind you?
I got poker coaching peak.
Show us the peak.
There's the peak.
Do we get as much information in peak as we do in GTO Wizard?
No.
What have they not added yet? Have they not added? They've got equities.
Right. So we get some weird artifacts in the way that it shows some things.
Which makes sense because it's in beta.
Here's our first error in peak. You get a raise, a re-raise, and 100 there. And then it says that these guys can't have a range. The cutoff button, small blind and big blind are not allowed to have aces here. Not saying you don't know how to play them. I'm just saying it doesn't even allow you to do it.
Got it.
Then you come along here to the under the gun and you're telling me that you should with any frequency call ace eight suited?
Yeah, this is Nash distance, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is
Solver noise.
This is solver noise, but it's dramatically, but the size of it is dramatic. If they did this as 0.03%, I'd go like this I'll accept, even 4% I don't like, but I'll accept calling this solver noise. This is just a mistake.
Yeah.
And then we saw, actually we don't need to, and then was another one where the percentages here were at 0.1%, 0.1%, and 1.2%. They just didn't add up to 100.
So they don't have range
But when
versus
we-
range, right? So you can't look at range versus range.
Right, so if we do this, let's do a normal thing here. Here we go. Let's do this and let's call under the gun. We get a flop. And when we see it, we have this info. We do not have, we have equity.
Do you? Can you click on it?
We can click here, but we can't, but those are what we're seeing.
We can't, so they're gonna add equity and EV later, they just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, those are there. We don't have the range versus range. We don't have the city graphs and some of those things yet.
Can you just click on the settings button in the upper, the gear
Yep,
in
we
the upper
have,
left-hand corner?
we have MTT with multiple sizes,
Okay.
those animals. And then we have
And then cash, you've got 100 and 200.
200.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm gonna do two hands because the first one is super short. It's only just looking at this, so we get a limp followed by,
See ya, Leanne,
ISO.
sorry.
oh, why don't I? Oh, you can't see this?
No, we can't. Sorry, I was just saying goodbye to Leanne.
Okay, bye, Leanne.
Sorry.
So here's why this one's weird. Limp, limp, limp. I'm
Oh,
getting
God.
ready to I'm getting ready to ISO. He ISOs to a reasonable size. What do I do?
So what are your stack depths behind? So you got
This
a
guy's
broken
scary.
stack.
This guy can jam.
Yeah,
He can
It's
just,
a very
he can just
interesting spot.
spaz. He can just spaz with sevens here if he wants to.
this is an interesting spot. What do you guys think?
Kind of player dependent. I would potentially 3-bet a lot sometimes and maybe even fold sometimes, but
Yep.
or call. I think kind of depends.
I don't like call, but I like 3-bet or fold here, and I would choose, I think you gotta go a little bit higher with this 22.7 stack, because you don't really. I don't know, you don't want him to go, you don't wanna go to 21 and then he goes all in, and then this guy calls, and then you can't, the action is closed to you.
Partial bet theory. Partial bet
Yeah,
rule.
but I think kind of unlikely that he's gonna jam after he limped, right? In
Seems
that
like,
spot.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
And you
yeah,
don't really care. You'd gladly take nines against his limping range.
you would, but you don't want, but,
You don't wanna help villain 13.
right, and you don't
No,
want
you'll
villain
be in
13
position though.
to jam over that and fold your, and have to fold your big bet. These are what the cards were. This is, I mean, this is wackoid. This is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, no, I think.
Yeah.
I think 3-bet or fold is what I would do.
Okay,
It's gonna be very, like, it's just hard to play the nines. Like, if you flat, you're gonna end up playing with all these players behind you.
Yeah.
And then,
that's a nightmare.
yeah, that's a nightmare. And
Well, it's not,
Um,
it's a dream come true 13% of the time on flop. But the other
Yeah.
87% of the time it sucks.
Right.
yeah.
Oh, and then nightmare, that, 13% of 13% of the time.
Yeah, when they flop
The- Yeah, when you're set over set,
although I mean,
but anyway,
the only guy that's really set over setting you is villain 13.
Yeah.
And you're probably gonna hear from his aces, kings,
Yeah.
Even queens, presumably a guy that has an appropriate ISO size in the small blind, right? Gives you just like a little inkling.
Yeah.
I
So-
I think I would probably 24, 25 it and see what happens.
okay. Now see, and I'm gonna guess that I think what my correct sizing here should be 21, 21, 22, 23, yeah, 24.
Yeah, I
20,
don't even think you
25.
need to go. You don't need to oversize it. I don't think you got to go more than 3x.
No, I
No,
think,
21.
I
Oh,
mean,
you don't think I put in the extra for these guys?
No, I think you could go 20.
Let's go 20.
well, let's talk about the partial bet rule that Sutton brought up, because I think it's an interesting perspective and it makes sense to take that into consideration. So the argument is that if you go 20, ace two jams, no one else can re-raise. Cutoff and small blind cannot re-raise over the partial
No.
bet.
But no, small
Well-
blind can,
But we can't.
because we raised him. Small blind can jam.
Small,
Okay.
but small blind knows that they can call. And we cannot put more money
We
in the
can't.
pot.
Got it. So
So
that's,
so that makes their life easier.
That we hog tie ourselves.
yeah, so that is important.
Right, and if we wanna not do that, then our raise has to be only to like 14 or something, and we know that these three guys fold, but we just,
Or the other option is to put
Keep him in.
villain 10 all in and make it 24. Because then his ace two's only option is a shove and it's only got a partial bet.
Yeah.
And then you are not hog tied.
Well, I go 24, he can call or fold, and the ace queen can safely call. Nobody re-raises. It's the same as if I go 21 and he jams, it doesn't matter. It's the same size. So it's the same thing as if I go villain 22's full range.
Oh, I
think
thought
another
if you put in 24 and he's all in and ace queen clicks back to 50, you can shove over it.
Oh yeah, if ace queen just clicks back, if ace queen raises, but that's also true if if ace queen does any raising, I can re-raise him no matter what villain 10 does. So that's irrelevant.
All right, got it.
Yeah, okay. But it didn't go any farther than that. That's all it did.
I
Okay.
think another thing to remember, especially like on sites of ignition with these like broken stack guys, like guys with like sub 20, 30 big blinds is they're pretty bad. So like there's a pretty good chance with this hand that if you bet, he would have just called the jam with the suited ace. So like that, like whenever you're like
Yeah.
out of position with broken stacks, like you gotta kind of treat them as like little landmines. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
never quite sure what they're gonna do, so you gotta kind of plan accordingly.
Right.
So what's the narrative? What
But
happened?
I'm not worried about him. I'm happy to get it all in against, I'm
Yeah,
worried
yeah, yeah.
about when I'm bad to this and not. But okay. And then here's an actual hand.
What happened in that hand out of curiosity?
This one I folded.
And did
I
did
folded,
anybody
everybody
call him?
folded. No, that was it.
Okay.
I think
fold.
fold is fine, Larry,
Yeah.
or Scotty. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Like you're not really, I don't think it's too much difference really.
Okay. Raise. Call.
Definitely.
I can do some three betting. Mostly I should call this, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can call in theory here, and it's not
I
gonna
think
be
it's a
like
call in
pure three bet
theory.
or anything.
I
did
think you
three-
start at jacks.
Okay, so that's gonna be the first mistake.
Not a mistake.
This is not, I'm not gonna put this in a mistake.
No,
bucket.
no.
I think
Do
this
you-
is fine.
Oh, has this guy been watching like Jaffe or something? Like call behind with ace king here. He knows Mr. Hero in the big blind is a bit aggressive. I don't think that that's very common.
The back jam, the back
Yeah,
raise.
Back what four bet here, right?
Yeah.
Yep, this is this, and is he playing second hand low? As we discussed last week. So obviously I can't fold my tens to this size. Can I?
No.
Mm,
Can I?
you know, there's been sort of advice on when you get the limp re-raise kind of thing from, somebody under the gun, and I mean, this doesn't fall into that category, but that, people just say when that happens, you just fold everything. Just get out of there.
Just, he gave you the signal he has aces, therefore he has aces.
Well, yeah, I mean,
This is
sometimes
the
they don't,
aces
but-
signal?
Well, I think it is. This is this looks like an aces trap to me. What, I mean, aces, kings, and sometimes ace king suited, blocking your aces and kings.
I don't know. I would definitely call.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it was just a min raise, right?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
minute.
Oh, then we're gonna get this flop.
Check range, right?
Yeah,
I would imagine if there's any flop that you get to dunk, this is it.
who knows? Yeah, I don't know what those ranges would look like.
But yeah, who knows?
I'm way ahead or way behind, and if I'm way behind, I have a draw.
You may only be a little bit ahead, like against
Ahead of
a,
ace king.
yeah.
An ounce.
Can't fold now. We know that.
And now it's not including the back door. Yeah, you can't fold.
Okay, so we're not gonna fold. We might have raised there.
Boo.
Now we have, but now, why didn't we raise? Because now look at what the SPR happens
Yeah. That's what
when he does that.
Yeah.
I just got rejam, right?
Look at that sizing. Oh my god.
A jam.
That sizing is horrible.
Got it. Just rejam. Yeah, it's not.
Right. So
Mm.
Pain.
this is both an example of why I shouldn't play poker. And also, just of the example of, yes, the second hand low does exist out there, that exact thing. I don't know where, I mean, I can see that this is, that a call here could be better. Let's see. Let's see what the wizard says to this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is
The
the,
wizard's not gonna have this.
no, the
No.
wizard has it. It's in the wizard.
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know about
because
this.
he raises.
Yeah, it's a under the gun or low jack button
So
call.
jack -1, button calls, and here I am in the big blind. What do I do with tens? I shouldn't have re-raised them.
Oh.
It's that simple.
I don't mind it. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think expanding your squeeze range is
Yeah, 'cause-
profitable.
You know, like the button
good.
call range in the wizard is probably not gonna be representative of the button call range in real
Yes.
life.
That's 100%. That makes your raise much better
So
than
you-
Oliver's gonna show.
UTG folds, right?
Isn't this all player dependent, right?
Yeah, it
It's all
doesn't, it
dependent
doesn't
on
have this
your,
re-raise.
you know, what you do here is all dependent on the players you're in the pot with, right? Really?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, yeah, it's just, I think, you know, one of my
But-
buddies, Scotty, he just says like, cause I had this conversation with him in a hand where somebody four bet. And I had like ace king or something, and he was like, dude, if a guy four bet bluffs you or four bets you, you know, like he's like, I just fold everything. And, you know, cause he's like, the just percentage of it, no matter how weird it is, the four bet range is just so strong, like every time,
Okay,
you know, and that might also just be a good rule.
and this
No.
limper raise range is too small, is too strong. Okay,
It's,
Now,
I mean, it's
given-
weird. Like I was most skeptical one about it being aces, but
right.
it's a four bet.
Now, given that it is a 4-bet, that's technically a 4-bet, yeah. Given that we start here, we go, well, I'm set mining if I play this, and I need 13 more. And so I should have 130, and I'm out of position, so I should probably fold. So that's the next mistake. So this is a better call than a raise.
If you're set mining, right, you do have to just set mine, you know. If the set don't come, you've got the open ended, right? But
But
you
that's
could
what I meant.
maybe
was
argue
I
falling.
meant to set mine, and then this happened at me.
Yeah.
And he bet half pot. It's like, well, now I'm getting the kind of odds I need. This, by the way, is wrong.
Expose the cards, it'll change.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but look, against his actual hand. I'm great,
Yeah, good point.
right? So the
Got
mistake
the
is,
odds.
so here. And it's, and even against the Joey thing of, yeah, those are the odds with two cards to come going.
Yeah,
and
Joey's
here-
kind of a non-believer in odd odds on flop.
Here. It's a fold, and it's a fold by that much, and by 1%.
But you're
But I-
looking
but
at
I
the
made it
actual
worse by
bet
doing that.
size, not your full
Yeah.
remaining size, right?
Right, so
So
this
the,
was
the
a mistake.
difference is even bigger.
I should not have done, if I was gonna do this, at the thing we all said, we'll just jam here. That's what I shouldn't have done.
Yeah. I think this is the part where you could argue is the biggest problem. You can argue the other states based on the players, but
Yeah.
this is
This is,
the pot odds are different than what we're actually looking at because you're playing for the full 61 big blinds rather than the 50 big blinds he's bet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a sense, so let's just do this before we go, and whoever's got a hand next, get it prepped. If I do the right thing here, which the 24, sorry, we've got it here. So when he bets this, and I've got, why are you calling? Oh, right, this is the right thing to do. Then here, when he bets and I'm 1% off, my extra 20, my implied odds, because he isn't folding on the river, if I get my jack or my 10, although I can't love my 10, this is terrible. But if I do call here, let's just assume I call here, and then there's the 4, and I've got 20 left, and then he bets 20 into 230. Am I still going to fold my overpair now? So are you guys, I mean, if you make all my mistakes, but do the right, but here just call his 50 big blinds, leaving you with 11. You've got 11 big blinds left. And here's the river. And he bets 11 big blinds into 230. Are you folding?
So I think if you're calling that, in my perspective, and again, it's it's, this is real life, not theory, right? If you're calling the 50, you're basically, in theory, calling anything on the river, right? You're basically going all in. So you could argue, yes, you shove, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's a tough fold because you do have a lot of equity, but you know that based on how they've played, both pre-flop and their continuation in their betting on the flop and turn, that they have likely got you beat and you're playing to your outs of either hitting the straight or the trips, right? So you're hoping at that point, and the odds aren't fully with you.
They're close though.
They're close, but obviously the difference between having them and not having them is the difference between winning and losing, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Long
you're right.
term.
You're
Yep.
right. And there's no implied odds, obviously. So yeah,
And, things could be worse. He could have Jack here.
there's a
If
smidgen of implied odds.
Yeah, there's a smidge of
Yeah.
implied odds.
I
But,
mean, if you put this into an implied odds calculator, it might actually just get you over the line. It's so close.
so, all right,
I got
That-
one.
that
to
is
prep.
that mistake of a hand. Okay, who's got one next?
I've got one.
All right, go Larry.
Okay. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. Can you see my screen?
We can see it.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is kind of a modified Nuffle here. So this guy, I've got this broken stack, this blind versus blinds broken stack, I've got marked as a heavy donker. He loves to donk. So he limps. I think this hand probably falls into our limp behind range. So I limp, I check.
Yep.
Get second pair. Checks. What are you guys
Queen
doing?
7, by the way, Queen 7 has a frequency of 50-ish% raise against the limp, but it's perfectly fine to check behind too.
Do you have those memorized? Blind versus blind?
I'm a crazy person.
That's insane. I mean, it's beautifully insane, and I'm really jealous that you can memorize ranges like that, but yeah.
But
So-
I should point out, well, never mind. Go on. Yes.
So what are you guys doing here? He checks. Okay.
I like a bet here. You're betting for value and protection both, even though it's second pair in a blind versus blind situation like this is perfectly fine. I don't think
Right.
he's wrong. That's good.
Side B75 at this ridiculous SPR. He calls, now it gets interesting. Obviously 5-6 got there. It's gonna have it at some frequency. I do too.
Mhm.
He overbets.
Oh, geez. Cause I was gonna check behind there.
He is and I've got him marked as super high freak donk and very wide frequency donk. In fact, I have him marked as guy who loves to donk his draws. And we're in
Yeah.
blind versus blind, which is the most bluffed
Yeah,
configuration of poker.
I just
I
don't
was
see
gonna
many
say,
draws
yeah.
available.
Well, all the pair pluses, right? Any like
Any five, any six, any ace.
he could do it
two?
with like H2. Like his player type, because I play on global as well, so I'm pretty familiar, especially from like the 50 to 200. Like there's a lot of these guys that are just like betting with any draw type of thing. Like I would most likely be forced to check call turn end river here versus that player type.
So I chose to take the Nuffle line. So Nuffle says here that we raise to pot plus bet.
This is not Nuffle. This
Uh-oh.
doesn't apply.
Okay, well, I chose
That's
to
the most important.
moderate my
Your
own
line might
Nuffle.
be right.
I'm gonna call it Luffle for Larry
Yeah.
Nuffle.
You're playing Luffle.
I'm
Alright,
playing Luffle, and I chose to. I don't know. So, are you saying it's not Nuffle because of the size?
no, it's not Nuffle because this didn't go, this was because this wasn't an RFI, this wasn't, Nuffle is you raise, they call you from the big blind, then they donk the flop.
I think. So, do you think that everything that Nuffle talks about now is no longer valid?
This isn't a donk. I mean,
This is-
it's a different word. I understand how it aligns with a donk, but he didn't bet the flop. And you call the flop with your full range. His
It's
range,
not really that-
What term
some-
would you use to call
Yeah.
this, Scott?
This is a turn donk.
this is a turn donk, but it doesn't apply to the Nuffle data.
No, I don't think it does.
Completely different situation than the Nuffle data.
Well, I might be reading Nuffle a little bit too widely. I think that this is, especially with the player class I just laid out, I think that this is often, this falls into what Nuffle is based on, which is a marginal hand or a draw that now it's turning itself into a bluff.
Okay,
Well,
But
isn't
this could
Nuffle,
also be
I will accept
this could
that.
also be someone checking the flop with a strong hand, hoping to check raise, and because you haven't
But he did
bet
bet.
the
He bet
flop,
the,
right?
what if check raise?
They are now betting for value.
I did bet on flop.
No, Richie, we bet the
Oh,
flop.
did you? Sorry, I missed that.
It went limp call, then check, bet, call, then bet. Check, bet, call, bet.
Okay. Okay.
All
I
right.
thought I thought Nuffle was neutralizing the flop leads.
Neutralizing flop leads, yes.
No,
Nuffle-
this isn't Nuffle now. We've
Nuffle
decided
is
it's
not
called,
Nuffle.
it's called Luffle.
Yeah, this is Luffle.
Yes,
So as Luffle, what did Larry?
Nuffle.
So I raise,
Right?
thinking that I'm neutralizing his turn lead. And then we get this very interesting sizing. He now bets. What is this? 20%. What are you guys doing here?
Crying call.
So
Snap call actually.
he turned his bottom pair gutter into a bluff.
Right? And then on the river, he tried to keep you from raising him. But your raise doesn't get any value because he can fold easily. So your call is perfect. I love your
Okay.
river.
I'm gonna start a stable based on Luffle.
Right.
Yeah, I think Larry, just like one thing that I was thinking about is like you went to the 1.5 bigs on flop. And I think on these boards in these really wide configurations, if we just use the one big sizing, we just guarantee that he continues super wide. Like
That's
for
valid.
one big blind, continuing with like so much stuff. Like any overcard, like 10-9 continues, like 8-10 continues, like so many hands. And then, you know, when it goes check, check on the turn, you can bluff catch river really easily. Cause he's just gonna have so much junk that he chooses to bet on the river.
Yeah,
When you did the the Luffle play as well, the bet here, why did you choose that size? Why was it a snap, min raise?
It probably wasn't a snap. It's just because I'm going through the,
Yeah, sorry, I meant not a snap, I just meant a min raise.
because I'm betting pot plus his bet, which is what Luffle has taken from its deep research of Nuffle.
Wait a minute. you
Okay.
didn't bet pot plus his- You didn't bet. pot- Wait a minute, you're talking about on the turn? No, you just min clicked him.
Yeah, we made it 12.
Yeah, you're right. This is too small. It should have been 18. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Should have been 17. Yeah, this is probably too small. You're right. You're right. Good point.
But it was perfect size for his exact hand. You targeted his two cards perfectly, but I think that's a pretty thin target for your raise.
But
Because he has nothing that you're raising. He has very little equity that you're raising to 12, or he has you beat and you're raising to 12. He rarely.
Yeah, I should have gone, if I was gonna play this game, I should have gone to 18.
At which point, he has to overpay for his, for his 9 outs.
Yeah, you're right. The sizing's too small. If
Yeah.
I'm gonna choose, take this line. Okay. Passing it back, guys.
Okay. Mike, you got another one? Oh, got another one ready, Adam? Or does anybody else have one other than Adam,
Yeah.
Mike, Larry, and me? So Adam,
I
take
got
this one. And if anybody else has one ready, stick it in chat, say me.
Alright, hang on, where am I here? Share. Okay, this one
Okay.
I was,
After Adam.
okay. Can we see it?
Yep, we can see you.
Oh, sorry. Skate, you haven't done one yet, man. Go ahead, go
He's
ahead.
gonna do it after this
No,
one.
no,
Okay.
no, no. Go
Go.
ahead.
Okay,
Gotta prep it.
okay.
Gotta buy a new computer and all.
Alright, I've got,
Yes.
eights in the, low jack here. This fellow here is an active 3-better. Probably has a 3-bet number, we can look real quick. 3-bet of 8 here. And one thing is this guy, doesn't really like to fold to 3-bets. His number is pretty high.
Yeah, this guy's a lag.
So he 3-bets, and I think this is like kind of close again against a lot of guys. I just say, okay, I'm done here. But against this guy, I felt like I needed to call here.
Is a
So-
3-bet at 8 more than, a 3-bet at 8 is less than, GTO, right?
Yeah, it is. It
But it's
is.
more than, but it's more than a lot of the pool.
That's right. It's more than
Yeah.
all of the pool.
Right.
And I feel like, I don't know if this is true or not, but it feels like he 3-bets me more than he 3-bets anybody else.
Okay.
And so I defend here. I think that this is, again, like a more narrow 3-bet, like I wouldn't do this, but I'm playing in position, so
You've got the odds for a pure set mine if you want with this.
Yeah.
So great.
Yep.
What did you make it pre? I missed it pre.
3, Mike.
Okay.
3 to
Yep.
12, 9 more, and he's got 90 and he's got 90 behind after the 9. So this is this can't be wrong.
No, I
So-
think that calls fine, isn't it?
Yeah, so we call here. I think that I like, good, excellent. I like this confirmation, call all day, alright. We get this flop. And I expect he is going to be c-betting quite frequently, and he will just like c-bet like half pot for his sizing, I would bet. And I just think that this is like auto click half pot every time for him,
Mhm.
no matter what he has.
Yeah.
And I thought that my diamonds and my hearts here were both good. And like required continues here. I think if we don't have diamonds for sure, we fold. But I had the diamonds, so I thought I should continue.
Spot
Yep.
on.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. And then we get a diamond turn board pairs. I think the board pairing, it really shouldn't matter because we shouldn't really have fours here. So it is kind of like a good card for him. The diamond is probably better for us than it is for him. He elects to check. And I think this is my question. Should we be turning this hand into a bluff?
I think I
No,
personally just check. Yeah.
No, I think you could potentially bet for even value. Like, I mean, you could have easily have the best hand here.
yeah, we got showdown.
Another question to ask yourself here is, how much does a check raise from cheetah piss induce pain?
Yeah. I
Matt.
was gonna say, if we've got showdown, it's better to check here, right, than bet, right? Because if he does check raise us, what you doing? You're not happy, right?
Yeah, that's not, yeah. Check. No need to bet. No need to boot the pot.
I have so I'm all in favor of the check behind here. And one other argument with it, which is, so you're betting your eights because they're the best hand.
Mhm.
And it gives you a little protection because he's got to fold ace nine, and ace nine has 6 outs against you.
Mhm.
So in that situation, so when you look at, of the cards that are about to come against his range of value that wants to check raise, value of pocket nines, pocket tens, pocket jacks, that don't want to bet into the queen anymore, but aren't going to fold. The next card helps you more often than it helps him. Because because he's got to hit for his ace king, if that's what he's got. He's got to hit an ace or a king that isn't a diamond. And you are ahead already, and diamonds help you a lot. Yes, when it's an ace of diamonds and a king, it's different. But I think you can safely check behind here a lot. Okay.
I do check.
Yeah, I like it.
I do check, but
8 of hearts on the river.
that would be nice.
Looted deck, ace. One of the worst cards in the deck.
So he checks.
Check back.
Check
Yeah.
back. You just accept if you've lost the hand, unfortunately, I'd say. Because
So
you've still got showdown value.
Let him win with nines.
Mm.
He's got all the suited broadways up there, the king jacks. He's got a lot of bluffs, I think, that you can still win against.
like king jack is about like, yeah, I thought the ace was actually quite good. Especially when
you?
he checks,
Okay.
Like
So
this
he
is
have-
like,
You're gonna now try to bluff him off nines, tens, and jacks, right? And win, and then get folds from the hands that you would have beaten anyway.
yes. Essentially.
Yeah, because the only people who are calling you are beating you, right? So you're trying to fold people off who you would think are beating you. Because as Scotty said, right, people who you're beating anyway on the showdown are going to fold to a bet. So by betting, you're either trying to get someone off who's got a stronger hand than you, if that's your read, or it's not really a value bet, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm value betting. And I don't think I'm value betting. I'm wondering if I should be bluffing. And and the reason I mainly think this is because I don't know where bluffs are going to come from.
Yeah.
On this
Once the
turn.
ace comes, your ace of
Your
diamonds.
hand.
I mean, like ace, but some of those like ace of diamonds hands are gonna be. I guess you probably don't get a lot of raises in position on flop, so then I guess you have the singleton diamonds, but
The
that
one singleton diamond that you like to have is the ace of diamonds, and that's
Yeah.
not a bluff anymore. You never have 5-7. You never have 3-5, so you never have busted straight draws that you continued with. All your diamonds continued, so the only thing that you have as a bluff is you have your heart continues. What heart continues did you have on that flop?
I'm probably, if I don't know if I how many heart continues.
Yeah, I don't see
It's
any
gonna be ace, it's gonna be like ace X hearts. I think that would be the continues. because I think like king, jack of hearts.
Do you have 5-5 here ever?
No,
Fire tourist.
Arturus likes to bluff, but I didn't bluff.
Yeah.
I just checked
So
it back.
look, think of your range, like ace improves your range a lot, right? Eight of hearts is not that good, but like when ace comes, this is like rock bottom of your range. You bluffed already all fours, fives. The idea is you can bluff nines, tens, jacks here. And
The other thing to think about
And
is
you know
his
that they
three betting
sucks.
percentage. Sorry, I interrupted you, Taurus. Finish up, sorry.
no, it's just like we are on the bottom of our range. And this, we fold out better. So
I
now
think
it
I
makes
found
sense.
the
And
button.
we well bet a lot of ace six, but I didn't see the line. I think it's
So the
good.
other thing I would think about is an 8% three better. How much does he have nines and tens that he's three betting? And I would say not that much.
He said at the beginning, he kind of not over three bets, but maybe three bets more often than he thinks he should, especially against him. So that's going to include a lot of hands.
Okay, so I just saw the 8% three bet frequency.
Yeah, I like,
You can see what his river calling percentage is and go from there if you really want to bluff here.
yeah, I can't, I was torn in game. I ended up checking this back.
Here's what I
Uh,
think bluff
I
was.
think you should check here.
I checked.
Yeah.
And then this.
Yeah.
I
Look,
knew
the,
it.
the other thing too is like, do you really think that he's gonna fold jacks here or tens here? I don't think he is. I mean, shoot,
I think with a big enough bet, they could.
Yeah, the only
Yeah,
bet that
but-
probably folds it is a shove, right?
yeah, with the SPR, it's 50 in the pot. He's only got 77 behind.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
he's
I
only
just think,
got-
I mean, like, but so this is the thing, like, this is, I guess, the question about the exploit here is because this range on his line, he doesn't have an ace, and he doesn't have a queen, and he doesn't like those two cards.
And he doesn't.
Can we fold just like almost his entire range? When we
Not
jam
for
him?
that. I mean, you saw his stats, right? You always have to look at his stats before you decide to do anything.
I mean, if we jam, we make it, what, like B 125 or something, B 150?
Go to
Like,
his stats again. Go to his stats
Bet
again.
50. You can bet 50.
I mean, we can like, on this river, we can jam all in here.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
gonna be an
SPR
overbet.
is such that jacks are gonna
Yeah, it's
call.
not too big.
Like, that's, like, I'm not sure if you're this guy, you see this ace, like, you don't have an ace, you
Yeah.
checked. So I think like, I guess that is the crux of the question is it better to exploit here and just like, we can just jam and he
It
can't, like,
depends
he
on-
never calls. He just never
Like,
calls.
I
So
think the
what-
only bet
bring
here
up
is a
the
jam,
stats
right?
again. No, like bring up
Sorry, go on.
Chief. Like when you're trying to decide to exploit or not, you have to look at his stats and decide what kind of player he is, and then based on that, you know,
Mhm.
and that's the whole point of exploit.
So what
is
would you
know-
look at here? Would you look at when went to showdown? Would you look at river call?
Well, yeah, you gotta look
efficiency?
you gotta look at like what their 3-up percentages are. You gotta look at what their general VPIP is, and then you gotta look at like if they win generally on the river showdown, because and then like how much their calling percentages are, and then like
Do you have
obviously.
that stat?
I mean, you should if he has. I mean, he had the what
You might have that. Look at the detailed HUD.
yeah. So you have a HUD, so you should have that information.
Yeah, let's
on
see
it.
this. So
Yeah,
river,
then it just literally tells you if this person's worth exploiting. It has all the information right here.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. You could have, I mean, he's just got so many more cards in his, it's a bigger range than is necessary to try to bluff. Like he can have, I don't know, if you're three betting as wide as you say he might be, you know, you can include not only all of your Broadway cards bluffs, three bets, but get down to like 7-6, 7-8, 9-10, 10 jack.
Yeah, exactly. Those
Yeah.
are all actually, but then you would just win at showdown anyways. There's
Right,
no
that-
point.
that's what I was
This is
saying.
why you just check back.
That's the argument to check back here.
Right.
Yeah,
so I think Hungry Horse jams here because Hungry Horse believes what you said, which is Hungry Horse is ignoring his cards entirely
Yeah.
and saying he is going to fold his entire range here that I believe he has left. I don't believe he has an ace here, although an ace absolutely could not bet this. He was out of position. You didn't bet you don't have a flush here. Okay, so yeah.
So
Um,
why didn't he has an ace left? Because they could have ace. I know they've got a wide range, which reduces the chance, but surely they could still have ace king, ace jack suited here. Clubs.
Here's
Uh,
the.
spades.
I think there's zero chances this player.
Yeah.
Sees
Okay.
pairs an ace on this board after it goes check on the turn, and doesn't think he's good in betting for value.
To get value from your queen.
So
'cause
that
he-
it's
he
an
believes-
exploit on the player then that they would always bet if they hit the ace on the river. then.
I think a guy that I don't think a lot of guys are gonna trap
But
They're-
just
they're-
because they don't
when they
bet
hit
doesn't mean
top
they're
pair
not
here.
gonna call.
Yeah.
Like just because they don't bet doesn't mean they're not gonna call.
No, but Cheetah, we're gonna, he's making the assumption, I think it's a reasonable one, that Cheetah Piss has already determined that Adam doesn't have a flush when Adam check. So Cheetah Piss is putting Adam, the top of Adam's range, as a bad queen.
So if he jams for, I guess, pretty much one SPR, Cheetah's gonna fold there with his jacks. I don't know that, like, that's the thing.
Right,
it-
that's the point, is that Cheetah says, if Cheetah has the ace, in his mind, the ace is good. Because Adam is capped at a bad queen. Okay, that's his mind, that's Cheetah Piss's story. Therefore, Cheetah Piss will bet his ace. When Cheetah Piss doesn't bet, he doesn't have an ace. And Adam says, Cheetah Piss is now capped at,
Essentially, this hand, this is like the top of his range. Maybe
Yeah.
he has like king, queen, or like queen,
Ten.
jack or something, but like,
sure, but Queen 10 and Jack might still be folding this river to this ace.
right,
same.
it's like the same hand.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so like that's the thing, like when you can fold the entire range of the player,
That's the exploit.
there's real power in that. And I
Yeah,
just
but
couldn't,
like,
I couldn't
again-
figure, I had all those thoughts, but I couldn't. I don't know if it's better to go that route or just to try to win against like all the hands that we kind of
Right.
talked about. Cause he has a lot of hands that we can beat, king, jack of clubs, like 9, 10 of
Yeah.
spades, that he doesn't continue with.
Okay, so here's my pitch.
I would assume that he's pretty stationary and he would call there with jacks, like, or tens. I'd be reasonably sure.
But we saw his river fold. His river fold was, what was it, 40%? So he's in there. But, so the one thing, the exploit with your hand works, as in a good player does it. We believe Hungry Horse does it. And you wanted to know what's your bluff here? 5-6. And 5-6, which you have, has the advantage of now, if he has any 7s or 8s, they also fold. And so you've now picked up even more reason to be bluffing. So maybe that's your bluff and your 8s aren't. Or maybe your 7s are your bluffs and your 8s aren't. Maybe that's your line. I'm done.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, Tom
think
Dwan has Jack deuce off here, so he has to be.
I think if you're narrow in this player's range to not have obviously the aces and basically the only combos beating you in this player's range is jack and tens, I think the check back's fine. If their range is slightly higher with larger combos that beat you, then I feel like the all-in bluff is fine because you could get some aces folding here with a jam, right? So like an ace, not the ace of diamonds, not a hand containing a king of diamond. Like obviously they're not going to fold, they're probably going to call you, but the ace jack of spades, the ace jack of clubs, possible. Even potentially the ace queens, you could get folded here. But when there's only 2 combos that are beating you based on this guy's range, it feels odd to go for the bluff, in my opinion. Bluffing just against 2 combos where you're beating most of the time with a showdown.
I mean,
It's not two
it's
combos.
18.
18
it's-
combos.
It's 18. I meant 2 types of hands, not combos. Sorry.
Oh, right.
So jacks and tens, right?
And 9s.
Oh yeah, and nines.
Yeah.
That is a bit more than I was thinking. Sorry, my bad.
No, I mean, it's,
And
it's,
we're not targeting the aces. We're expecting to get called by aces and our bluff losing.
we just don't think he has, I just
just
don't
don't
think he
think he has
has
it.
very many aces.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I don't think these are the spots where you really are gaining money from anyway. You know what I mean? There's like these are the spots where like yeah, in this particular instance, but for the most part, like the majority of your money isn't gonna come from these types of spots and positions. So like trying to elk out like the tiniest bit of value, like on the river when there's so many different hands that can beat you, that can call you, that can raise you. You know what I mean? Like I think it's better to just take the conservative route, like especially once you're so far down the tree. You know what I mean?
We didn't solve this one. Let's just solve it.
I was
mean,
gonna
granted,
say, can you
solver
solve
could
it
be-
and can you adjust their range as well?
No, to do that, we need Pio and we don't have Pio.
But we can kind of. We
I
can,
have
we can
GQ,
flesh
I-
out.
I-
It'll be interesting to see where the bluffs
Yeah.
come from.
Yeah.
I have not put this one in to
Yeah, let's put
wizard.
this one in. Do you have a wizard? I don't have a wizard.
Yeah,
but-
I have wizard. Hang on a second.
Okay.
All right.
And then after this, we'll do skates hand and we'll.
Why
be
don't,
done.
hey, why don't you do skates hand and I'll put,
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
get
well,
this
you
one
put it
in.
in. Okay.
I'll get it
Good
in.
idea.
Okay.
All right, skate.
I am ready. All right, let's see if I could share. Here we go. Can you see the easy replayer?
Yep, we see the easy replayer. You have pocket queens. We like pocket queens.
Yep, I saved the best for last. So, I mean, the worst for last, excuse me. So, yep, this is a hand I think I started playing when I started playing live seriously.
So this is the best played hand in the poker of history.
Push more buttons.
Here we go. All right, so it's gonna. Whoops. Okay, sorry. It's gonna cut off limps. I raise 15.
Extra big, but it worked.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say it's too small. I'm not gonna say it's too big if somebody calls you.
Yep, out of position. Yep. BB calls, cutoff calls.
Where is this?
It's a Hard Rock Hollywood.
All right.
Florida?
Yep.
Nice. I'm Florida.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, what a coincidence. Yeah, ASDF is from 2+2. So yeah, we get this flop here, paired board. I don't think anybody should be having a 5, so I go ahead. And by the way, I'm not sure if I actually had a queen here, a club. So this is just my guess of what I had. So we go ahead and c-bet 25. It's a quick hand. BB calls, cutoff folds. We get this turn. Now here in this turn, I made a mistake of not overbetting, maybe even, yeah, I did not overbet. I bet 40, pretty small. BB calls, and we get this
So
river
keeping
here.
all his pairs, all his draws, everything. Yeah.
Yep. I don't see them having any 6s at all, but the clubs did come in. And, you know, I was beating myself in the head for this for a few hours. Why?
Check call. Oh,
Yeah,
we bet.
I should have checked.
Yeah.
I bet.
Check
Yeah,
to give
this-
him a chance to bluff. Now,
This happens, and I'm getting the right pot odds, so I call and I lose, of course.
You-
Wait, excuse me.
oh, you win.
No, they had
Bad club.
this is clubs, exactly.
Bad clubs. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
makes.
got it wrong.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So that's it, that's the hand.
I think it was
still think
fine.
you have to
I
check
probably would have
call.
bet fold the river, but I thought everything else was fine.
I don't know if you can bet fold there. I don't know. Well, no, not bet fold. I think check call. I think you have to check call a jam there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
On the turn here, I think I should have went, maybe, could have overbet maybe like a,
No, don't over.
Definitely large.
no,
Like you could probably even jam with the SPR.
exactly, that's what I put in my notes. I was thinking I should have jammed the turn, or maybe bet Somewhere
I might
around
have
pot.
jammed flop. Well, no, SPR.
Pot, yeah, could have bet pot. Around 100. But I bet 40 for some reason.
Were
And,
you? Why'd you bet?
yeah.
Were you bet small? Did you bet smaller because you were trying to induce a call? Were you scared of like the draws out there?
No, I don't know. I think I just played the hand just too quickly. Just not fast play. Too slowly actually. I just was thinking about more of wasn't thinking about the draws there available. Meaning the club draw. And-
So yeah, you should always have an idea of what, like when you're doing something, like if you bet, you should always in the back of your mind be like, okay, so what am I gonna do if he calls? What am I gonna do if he raises? Like obviously like we're not being if he folds, but you know what I mean? Like it should always there should always be like contingencies and plan. So you're never like surprised when he does something because in your mind you already know or have someone prepared for what he's gonna.
And with that in mind, I think there's one mistake in this hand, which is on the river, when you bet the 50 and then said, well, I'm now priced in, so I have to call. The reason you're priced in is because you chose to bet 50.
Mhm.
And when you bet the 50, did you think that one step ahead and going, I'm going to be priced in and I'm going to be calling their jam. And if you wanted to have the option to fold to their jam, you had to either check or bet smaller or do a real block bet size on the river.
Yeah.
I think that you you put yourself in a position you didn't want to be in.
Skate, back it up to the river action.
Go back.
To the
Hit the back.
That'll work too.
Yeah, so just go to the river.
Here?
And then now hit the
Yeah, so
back.
just to the- that
Yeah,
one.
there we go.
Hit that
Go back
twice.
another step. Okay. So
One
pot
more-
is
one more.
175.
One more back.
There you go.
Here we go.
Yep, pot should be 175, and I put in my notes he jammed for
Yeah.
110.
Yeah,
10,
I was-
so he
I
probably
was
had enough
advocating bet fold here. I was advocating like a B33 and then fold to a jam or
Mm.
check call.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I lost money this hand,
Probably-
but I won overall, so you know.
Because he might not jam his for 120. He might bet smaller than that. And then you get to call smaller than that. Because that's a 1.5x over bet. It might not be more than 1.5. 1.5, it is less than 1.5. But he might not do it. He might bet 50%. He might bet 50. He might bet 75.
Yeah, I would have essentially saved money.
Because you said you don't give him a lot of sixes here,
Nope.
but he did call you with Jack 9 of clubs initially to your 15. Therefore, he also has ace 6 suited.
Yeah,
This
I think there's lots of hands here that can beat him, that is in range, but there's also a lot of value to be had too.
How much have you played live previously? Skate.
Well, I've been playing before on and off more seriously in the past maybe like 3 years, 2 years. But yeah, overall maybe like 7, 8 years, 9 around there. Well, actually,
So live is
Eight
kind
plays
of
almost exclusively live.
yeah.
yeah. So I actually transitioned mostly to live play recently, going from online. And like the biggest transition that you need to do is how much you have to hyper adjust based on the player type. Like even more so than like, you know, like 6-max rank battles with like fucking 5K, you know, cans and everything like that. Like you just it could because they just have no concept of ranges defending. So it's just really, really, really specific. You got to hammer the ones that you need to hammer, and then like the more like I guess OMC types, like you just basically fold range to them. Like we can talk about it later, but like yeah, there's some pretty easy adjustments that you can make.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you had a
gonna-
good point. ASTF, where do you play?
I was playing mostly on the 50 Zoom pool on Ignition, and then when all that fucking bot farming shit happened, I switched
Yeah.
over to global. But then I just ended up starting because I live basically on the border of Alabama and Florida. So there's a local dog track that's like 25 minutes away, and then Biloxi is like an hour and a half away. So I
Okay,
usually
cool.
just right there and there. Yeah.
Do they play double board bomb pots there?
No, so we have a 5-5 PLO game, which is really, very, really sweet, but it's a 5-5, 10, 20 technically, because there's like a $10 rock and a $20 straddle, and then they run 2-5 on the weekends, and then open face China, pineapple depending.
Whoa. So they don't use bomb pots there.
No, well, I mean they do at the PLO game. Some
Okay.
like if the players want it, then they'll do it. But it's not like specifically at the PLO game at the change of the dealer, they'll do like a double board bomb pot. But that's only at
Okay.
the PLO game.
Okay, cool. Because
What,
I live in Austin and I'm trying to figure out PLO double board bomb pots and they still escape me. They're frightening.
Oh man, I'd be so scared if I had to play.
Yeah, they're terrifying to me. Trying to get there though.
So what ASGF is suggesting is if you see this at the table, fold. This is the look of old man coffee.
You can make a
All
lot
right,
of money with that, Rico.
All right, I got this up. Interestingly, so I just looked at a couple of things. One, kind of what Solver was doing, and if you see, this is on this board texture. Solver is betting almost all their top pairs, and a whole lot of Queen X as well. And so here's ours, and we are checking. Our particular combo was the diamond and the heart. So that is the one that wants to do the most checking and the least betting here. But kind of like interesting about our threshold here, like this, it's close, like on the threshold, because the sevens are like going for it pure.
Right. 'cause the
Which I think Scotty might have brought up. I think Scotty also brought up the 6-7 as a possibility as well.
and the 5-6. Yeah, all those benefit from even more folds.
Right, because you can see this, the check range here is just like a lot of this 7, 8, 9, 10 jack, right?
Right.
That you can create a fold with. And the 8, it beats, I don't know how often this particular player has 7s, but in theory,
yeah,
could.
Now go back to your range, to your river bets here. Do you have any non-paired? Do you have any bluff that's not a pair? Occasionally, yeah.
Let's go.
Click on trash.
So 2, 3s,
Those are
pairs, 7, 8, and
7, 8.
King Jack. King Jack of hearts. That was your question about the continue, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That you would continue with the overcard backdoor flush draw around the queen.
Yeah.
Check, turn doesn't improve you.
Mhm.
River ace, he's got a mega capped range. You don't really have showdown value, and you can make a lot of better hands fold.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of neat.
Yep.
Yeah, run on the threshold.
Okay.
Larry, are you good?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys.
So, welcome everybody. Good to see you. ASGF, we do this on Mondays and Tuesdays, and you are welcome. Same time. I will post the links, and it is the same link each week on Monday and the same link each week on Tuesday. So if the link you use today.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Yeah, love to have you. All right.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Thanks, Scotty. Are you around next week?
I am. Let me take a look. I'm almost sure I am. Next week. Why would I be gone? What is happening next week? Next week is the 2nd and the 3rd. I am around and around. Yep.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for
Bye.
the Zoom, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming.
Bye guys,
Bye-bye.
thank you. May the poker gods thank you. Be with all.